Welcome back. This is episode number 5 from the first block of theory lessons. In this episode, we will talk about other harmful effects that hubs can produce, apart from those in the ecosystems and human health. So far, we have seen examples of adverse effects on the ecosystem. We have seen, for example, hypoxia. We can see if hypoxia lasts for a long time or occupies a very large region, can lead to dead zones. We can see organisms that can die or get sick. We have seen the nuisance blooms. We have seen the sunblocking. And we have also seen adverse effects on human health, from memory loss to respiratory problems, digestive problems, and so on. So all these effects can also have an impact on the economy, and hubs can also harm the economy. These impacts, we can summarize them in 4 main blocks, because they can either be related with commercial fisheries, they can be related with human health, they can be related with tourism or recreation, and they can be related with monitoring and management. So, let's see these impacts one by one, and let's start with commercial fisheries. Harmful algae blooms, they can have an economic effect on commercial fisheries. First, because they can kill fish. Let's imagine we have a fish farm, an aquaculture farm like this one. This is a salmon farm in Norway that was affected by a toxic bloom. And what happened was that a lot of salmon died. And if our fish die from our aquaculture farm, of course we will lose a lot of money. The second effect can be related with the closure of fishing activities. Either if we are a large business or a small business and our economy depends on fishing, if there is a harmful bloom and we can't go fishing for a few days, every day we don't go out to fish, we will lose money. And the same, we will have a shellfish farm. If we are farming scallops, oysters, clams, mussels, any shellfish, if we have a farm and there is a toxic bloom, we can't sell the organisms. We have to close the farm until the bloom disappears. And every day we don't harvest and we don't sell our product, we will lose money as well. Not only this, if we can't fish locally and we have to go further away to fish, the price of fish will increase also because there will be less offer. So the increase of fish price also has consequences. It will reduce the consumer demand. First, obviously, some people might not want to or might not be able to pay an increased price in fish or fish products or shellfish. But also, people can get suspicious. You know, if fish are dying because there is a harmful bloom, I'm not going to buy fish because I don't know if the fish is local. I don't trust the system. Okay. We can also have economic impacts related to human health. For example, if we get sick, of course, we need to go to a doctor, and this costs money. The treatments that we will need to get better cost money. If we get so sick that we need to be hospitalized, this also costs money to the health system. But not only this, if we are too sick and we can't go by ourselves to the hospital, we might need to be carried by an ambulance, and this costs money as well. And finally, every day we can't go to work because we are sick, there is a loss of productivity. Our company that is paying our salary will lose money every day we don't go to work because we are sick. There are also impacts due to harmful effects related with tourism and recreation. For example, we have said that the commercial fisheries will close if there is a harmful algae bloom, but also the recreational fisheries industry, they also need to close. So if we have a business that sells any fishing activities, we will have to close until the bloom disappears. And even if the bloom is non-toxic, if the bloom is massive, it can also damage the engines of the boats. So we will not be able to open our business, and every day we don't open the business, we lose money. There can also be economic damage related to the tourist industry. If we are in a place with a harmful bloom, even if it's non-toxic and it just stinks, people will not want to go on holidays there. So hotels, restaurants, rental properties, they will all lose money because they will not have clients. Also, anyone that has a business related with recreational activities, with, for example, these pedal boats or any other recreational activities like a beach bar or something, near the bar, the lake, where we have find the algae bloom, all these businesses, they will lose money because they will not have clients while the bloom lasts. And finally, of course, there will be real estate losses. If we have houses, if a real estate business has houses by the lake or by the seaside, and it's a place with recurrent algae blooms, people will not want to buy those houses. So the price of those houses will drop as well. And the real estate company will lose money. Okay? And finally, we can have economic impacts related with monitoring and management. Why? Well, of course, let's say we have a water treatment plant that takes the water from a reservoir, and this reservoir is affected by an algae bloom. Of course, we will have to use money, we need to spend money for water treatments to remove the toxins. And if you remember, if the concentrations of toxins is so large that we can't remove it, we will just have to close the plant until the bloom disappears naturally. So we can't sell water, we lose money as well. When we see that the concentration of algae cells start increasing too much, we also need to pay someone to take water samples and take them to the laboratory and try to see if there is toxins in the water. So we need to invest money in that as well. And of course, if we have a shellfish farm, we need to invest money, to use money to pay someone to look for the presence of nocive toxins as well in our product. Because if there are toxins, we can't sell the product. Of course, we might need to spend money in actions to remove other compounds associated with blooms. If you remember, blooms can actually stink when the organisms start being decomposed by bacteria. So we might need to remove this bad smell, and that costs money as well. Of course, we might need to spend money to remove algae from the water. As I mentioned before, if the algae bloom is massive, it can damage the engines, but if you remember, it can also block the sunlight and kill any other algae or plants that live underneath. So we might need to remove the algae as well, and that costs money. Obviously, if the bloom is toxic and it kills organisms, we will have to spend money to remove the organisms, whether they are fish, like in this image, crabs, like in this image here, or even whales. We need to spend money to remove the dead organisms to avoid other environmental or human health related problems. Obviously, we also need to spend money to identify the factors causing blooms so we can monitor and forecast. We need to be able to predict the blooms as well. And that can be done at state level, the country level, the European Union level. It can be done at council level. But we do need monitoring programs to be able to monitor and predict harmful blooms. Now you know the harmful effects that HABs can have on the ecosystems, the human health, and the economy. If you want to learn how HABs are triggered, please join me in the next episode.